Hi, I'm Stephanie McLean, and I'm here with Luz Gonzalez in beautiful Berkeley, California, talking about women in tech and her experience starting her company, Convive. So you met Deep and you decided, okay, you're going to connect and work together. Did you do like a formal co-founder agreement, and did you like run your Leo brain didn't say, oh, let's draft up everything and figure
Not
stuff
at that point.
Okay, got
so
you.
even with the, it's just Convive is so special, right? That I wanted to make sure that the chemistry was right. It really it comes down to chemistry. The people who join your team, especially early on, they have to be there for the right reasons, and so we were just like building initially, and he's just a good person.
Right.
Like, he's the type of person that you can trust.
Right.
So
no, when I met him, I kind of felt like that too. I was like, oh, he seems like such a great guy. You know what you mean?
Yeah.
It's like he has like good energy, good people type of thing. Okay, got it.
So I, like, at this point I don't think we have a co-founder agreement yet. Like, it's in my legal documents.
Right.
And I'm sending everybody else legal documents, and we know the sort of the terms. It's been so easy to work together.
Right, so it kind of just felt together. Right. What recommendations do you have for anybody who's looking for a co-founder or who's found a co-founder at a hackathon in terms of moving forward and merging your ideas? Because essentially you had two separate startup ideas and you've kind of merged them into one.
Well, they were pretty similar.
Right.
Right. It was almost the same thing, and he had just been working on it as a project. But yeah. So what I would say, and I hear myself saying these things, and I'm like, you changed, grasshopper.
Isn't that a good thing? It's funny how reflections change, and that's a good thing.
So I would
Man in the Mirror is your song. I feel like that's your soundtrack. I like determined to give you a soundtrack, so we're gonna just do Man in the Mirror is her soundtrack.
So trust your gut. Like Steve Jobs talked about intuition and trusting your gut. If it feels right, it might still not work out, but there are data points that are there that are giving you that feeling for a reason. So I would say work together for some time. But Deep and I joked around that we should have really stressful situations on purpose, just so we could quickly test out how we handled.
You know what? That's such a huge thing, because like sometimes it's not about. I think they have an expression for relationships, and they say like nobody proves the love when things are going good and two people are smiling.
Yeah.
It's like when things are going bad, that's how you see. So I think sometimes when you have tension and how the other person resolves it and how the other person deals with conflict tells you a lot, because I mean, especially for companies, they're going to be like high stress times. Businesses have peaks. They have pits too. So, you know, it's kind of like if you're in it for the long haul and you're trying to see this company grow and you're really trying to have a social impact, especially, you kind of need to have a co-founder who you can go through the paces with, because things aren't going to be perfect all the time. So I think that's very and so did you guys like pick fights with each other? How did that go?
No, you know, like it was so funny because we were working together for about a year and then we came to a point, and we're still there in terms of our priorities. We need to bring someone who's like really, really technical on board, right? So Deep is somewhat technical, but we need someone who has the artificial intelligence expertise, who knows systems, who has the right background.
Watson? Like Watson is my go-to. Watson is my go-to server. That's all I know. Who knows Watson? Who has Watson in their tech stack?
Who can build a new Watson?
Right. Okay, got you. So we're building a new Watson. She's building a new Watson. All I know is Watson. Watson is fine with me.
So we were talking to different people, and we brought some people together. And we were really excited that the technical team that was coming together, we were all going to get to work on a like hackathon type of day where we were just going to work on a Saturday from like 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. And when we all were around the table, it did not go the way we wanted it to go.
Oh no! Okay.
So I think I don't know from what experiences, from previous experiences in the workplace, I think I have a little bit of PTSD of like guys talking over each other and like not being good listeners. So that played out.
Were they mansplaining things to you?
There was a lot of mansplaining.
Got you. Yeah, guys do that all the time.
It was
funny.
just in general.
Like, I had a meeting the other day And it was like the guy like went to, I don't even know where he went to undergrad, and he's like asking me if I know like what a cap rate is. And I was like, well, I have a law degree. I have a master's in a finance-related concentration from Columbia, but no, I've never heard of a cap rate. I'm like, you can have brain and boobs. It's not mutually exclusive.
Brain and boobs.
I know, right? Brain and boobs. Like, oh my goodness, yeah. But the guys love to mansplain, so they're usually like, this is how this works. I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to take like your $8 million in capital, and Saks is going to have a sale, and I'm going to be like, hey girls, let's all buy shoes, and then like put some lipstick on and tell you, guess what, about that $8 million, bought some shoes, but here's a bow tie. I'm like, what do you, like, we understand money and we understand stuff too, but I think it's like a weird gender, like they like to mansplain, and I think men tend to be aggressive sometimes, so they can be like aggressive with each other and not take it as personally. And I think for women, our approach to things are probably a little bit different.
Yeah, women and men do things differently, but I
Right.
think there are overall best practices that we can all follow. And
Right.
one of those best practices that I like to follow is being a good listener.
Right.
And so during this meeting, there wasn't a lot of listening going on, and I felt myself being like, it's happening again. Oh no.
Oh no.
And it made me realize how easy it had been to work with Deep for like a year. We never, I think we're both good listeners. It's not like we agree on everything,
Right.
but we know how to disagree.
So he's like your co-founder soulmate technically.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely. Okay, got it.
absolutely. And
Right.
so it's been so easy, and I think I took that for granted. I was like, well, this is how it's
How it goes
supposed
with
to be.
everybody, right.
It's just easy, and you work together, and you got a lot of work done, and you're in it for the right reasons. Like, and then it's not, right? Like
Right.
with some other people. So that was really interesting. It's an enlightening moment where I thought, oh, not everyone is as easy to work with. Okay, well,
Right.
so
Cool. So, I mean, in terms of what's next for your company, are you raising fundraising, or are you doing like angels or Series A, or are you gonna like bootstrap it forever? What's next?
So we are currently fundraising our friends and family, and we're friends and family / pre-seed. So
Okay.
we are definitely starting to reach out to people in our network.
So you're
and
gonna have to
then-
hide from your mom if it until you get rich. It's like, because that's the plan. Like hide from the mom and the cousins and everybody, because you know the friends and the family and the
Christmas.
money thing is always interesting, right? It's like, I don't want to see you right now.
Except I think it's a little bit easier with us because
because they have the long-term vision. Because sometimes
we're in it
people,
for impact.
right? Because sometimes people kind of do that friends and family round, and I've heard stories about kind of like, you know, and every time you see cousin Tom, he's like, about that $20,000. Are you getting back to paying it back?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think people need to appreciate that. You know, it's long-term. It takes some
Exactly.
time for the business to materialize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if people are getting on board, if they're contributing, it's because, I mean, I hope it's because, of course, we're going to be profitable, we're going to make money, all of that stuff. But I hope it's because they believe that a company like Convive needs to exist and doesn't
Right.
exist. There's not that many. And that people like Deep and I, with our lived experiences, should be people to lead these types of companies.
So
right?
how do you describe your user experience? So I'm somebody who comes to the US and then I sign up for Convive when I get here? Like, is it kind of like a
It's anyone.
TransUnion type of thing, or?
You know.
Okay, so do I input my finances, or does it work with the banking institutions? Like, let me know how it.
Yeah. So currently it's for anyone that is struggling with their finances. You don't have to be an immigrant.
Okay.
But because we are building with an international company in mind,
Okay.
we keep in mind the experience of people coming from, you know, one country to the other, what their experiences are like. So right now we're getting started in the Bay Area just because we're here. We're
And
located
everybody
here.
who has to pay rent or a mortgage in the
Exactly.
Bay Area
Anyone-
probably is familiar
Yes.
with juggling your finances.
Anyone who's struggling
Right.
their finances and wants a tool to better do that can work with Convive. So what you would do is you would sign up. It'll connect with, it's through widely used APIs that other applications are using. So you would connect with something like 17,000 banks
Okay.
and financial institutions, and you would have access to your accounts. But not only do you have access to your accounts, you're able to ask it questions like, can I afford this burrito right now? And so
If it's San Francisco, probably not.
Probably not. It's probably like a
Burrito's probably like
$20
$25 or something. Yeah, and if you want a drink.
But the
If you know what
salsa
a
is like organic and it's like special.
I never understood that. Like, why is everything organic more expensive? It's like it's great for your health, bad for your bank book. I don't understand why it's like that whole trade-off. Like, why can't we have affordable organic? Maybe that's the next industry people need to disrupt. I'm like, goodness.
I'm pretty sure some people are working on it, which is
I
exciting.
hope so. I'm waiting for that to come to market. I'll be an avid supporter. Yes. So, okay, so it's like anybody who's struggling for their finances. So how do you then use it? Do you just
So it's
go to
both,
the app store, just download it?
it's two functionalities.
Or?
Oh yeah, you would go, right now we are only on iOS, but hopefully soon we will have Android as well. Android is really important, again, for the type of market that we're trying to serve. So you would download it, and then you would sign up. You would be guided. They would tell you like, hey, welcome to Convive. Like, are you ready to be a finance ninja? You would connect your bank account to Convive, and then at that point you would be able to ask it the questions that you are not able to have answered by other apps that are out there.
Okay, so basically, if you're living in the Bay Area and you download Convive, everything you want to do, or probably 2/3 of it, is going to tell you can't afford it. Pretty much. So
Well, the thing, it's really important.
Right.
So I remember I was driving from Sedona. I was doing like the self-retreat, like a little retreat for my birthday last year. And I was driving back, and I'll talk to anyone who will listen about Convive, my Uber drivers, my Lyft drivers. And so I stopped at this random Mexican restaurant, and I was telling the waitress about the system and asking her, what do you think about it? And she was just like, oh my God, if you built something like this, it would make such a difference. It would mean that when I go out and I buy my daughter a dress, that I would know that that was coming not from my rent money, but it was coming from money I actually have to spend. For a lot of people in the Bay Area and around the world, that question of can I afford this, it's a very serious, real question of like, you have your rent, you have your bills that you have to pay for, you have like food for your family that you have to provide, and sometimes if you take your kids to the fair or if you go to the movies, that money, without you knowing, is actually coming from your rent. Right?
But I think the interesting thing though is that in that market segments, what you're probably having is that there might be a lack of resources for what needs to be paid for. So if the answer to the question of can I afford it is no, is there like a follow-up based on that where it's kind of like moving towards like, all right, how to kind of increase the pool of resources that you have, or is it just kind of like, okay, she can't get the dress?
Initially, it's not increasing the pool of resources. That's based off of the profile that we understand for you. But right now, we know for sure by just saying no, you can't afford that dress.
Right.
Like that is solving a real pain point that so many people have. We've dropped by community colleges all around the Bay Area, and we've spoken to kids that look like us. That it's more likely that minorities are struggling with their finances, and we've told them about Convive, and they just say, oh my God, like when are you going to build it? This is a real problem for me. And so just by knowing, can I, yes or no, that's already a huge benefit.
Cool. So in terms of social impact, what do you think, or what is the impact you aspire to have with your product?
Great. So the goal is to reach at least 1 billion people around the world, and something that I'm really excited about is we're going to have Convive, and then as soon as we start making profit, which we will, 3%, and it might be bigger, but at this point we're kind of like, Salesforce does the 111. So we're going to do a 3%. So 3% of our resources, our profit, our people, our technology will go to improving the communities that we're in, as well as just the general global community. So I'm really excited about the Convive Foundation, which will be building schools, orphanages, providing money for research, for social enterprises that are like Convive, that are big picture enterprises and ideas that some people might not back, and also for founders that are not coming from the traditional background. So we're really excited to have the impact from the product itself that's going to be making the lives of our users better, and we're user centric. It's all about how do we really create a product and an application that really thinks of our user. Most financial products and services have not been built for people who are underbanked, unbanked, and credit invisible. So really building it for this market, and then the foundation and like really more directly serving the people in our communities and around the world.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. It's been a pleasure talking
Thank
to
you
you.
so much.
So if you want to know if you can afford it or not, download Convive. Thank you again.
Thank you guys.